guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're looking at criminals who were haunted by their victims. Also, my hair might look greasy. I just got out of the shower so my hair's wet. It's not grease.
The first criminal we'll look at is named Ah Fong. Surprisingly, she was an innocent-seeming teenage girl. She was recruited by the secretive Triad gang in Hong Kong. Her job was to lure victims into their trap.
Okay, so she isn't really that innocent. She's basically luring people into danger, aka death. It's quite crazy how there's stuff like that in the world. Like, everyone's born innocent. Nobody is born evil, but it's so crazy how if you get in with like the wrong people, you literally turn into like a killer.
And in 1999, one of their victims was named Fan Man Yi. Fan Man Yi was captured one night by this gang in Hong Kong. The gang said that she owed them $20,000. The gang spent an entire month interrogating Fan Man Yi, but sadly after 1 month, Fan's injuries meant that she passed away.
I think I've actually heard of this girl before. If I'm correct, I think she was stuffing some sort of a teddy. Yeah, why did they literally do that? I'm assuming she didn't owe them the money. Honestly, every single time I watch these videos, I get scared of going out at night.
The rest of the very evil gang simply moved on, except Ah Fong. Ah Fong, who had helped in the crime, began getting terrible nightmares.
Good. You literally led someone into like a gang brutal thing. Of course you deserve to get like tortured. I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest, if I ever come back as a ghost, I don't know. Like, ghosts might be real or they might not be. If I ever come back, I'm absolutely gonna terrorize people who I don't like.
She kept seeing the ghost of Fan Man Yi. She was unable to sleep for days, and was absolutely traumatized by what had happened.
She probably didn't see a ghost. It was just like the guilt hit her and then it made her go crazy, and because she wasn't sleeping, it made her go even crazier. I'm hoping that she eventually handed herself in and she got put into jail.
Eventually, Ah Fong could not cope, and she called the police. At first, the police did not believe her. They thought she was delusional or crazy.
I mean, yeah, that is understandable. If you literally ring the police and say, I'm seeing a ghost of a woman who I literally lured into death, they're probably going to be thinking, are you on drugs or have you had too much to drink?
But then Ah Fong took the police to the crime scene, and there they discovered the remains of Fan Man Yi. She had been hidden inside a Hello Kitty mermaid doll.
Yes, who it is, who I thought it was. Yeah, I heard of this before. I mean, oh, it's so awful. It's so crazy to think that them photos we just looked at were literal, like, crime scene photos. Someone had lost their life in that photo.
The 3 gang members involved were arrested and were sentenced to life in prison, and Ah Fong testified in exchange for immunity.
It's good that the gang members got put into jail, but immunity means she's not going to go to jail and her identity changes, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how to feel about that, because theoretically she led them in, but then they could have got anyone to do that. But you have to be careful of gangs like that. Like, you can be under the immunity thing, but they can still find you. I'm telling you, the world is scary.
Ah Fong's story is chilling, but an even scarier criminal is Jose Ferreira. This man is the epitome of evil. In 1982, when he was 17, he went to a party. That's when he met a 13-year-old named Carrie Ann Jopek.
Okay, 17 with 13-year-old, I can kind of tell what's going to happen. And he was 17. He was 2 years younger than me. Like, how are these people literally committing crimes at the age of 17? I'm genuinely 19. I have the maturity and brain capacity of a 4-year-old.
Jose gave her substances and tried to get her to go to the basement with him. But that's when Carrie said she didn't want to. Jose responded by saying, "You're going downstairs."
Oh my god, that's so awful. Like, this literally happened like 20 years before I was born. But it's the fact that it's still happening, and it happens all the time. Usually whenever I look at someone, I think, oh, they must be such a nice person. They're probably a lovely human. Because of people like this, I'm now going to look at every human as someone really evil.
And he then pushed Carrie down the stairs into the basement. But the fall broke Carrie's neck. Jose then did terrible things to Carrie.
I don't even want to know about what he'd done. I just know that obviously was terrible things. I think we know in our head what he was going to do and why he wanted to take her down to the basement. So she said no, so he shoved her down the stairs and she lost her life. He's obviously going to hide the body, and judging by the mugshots, he looks quite old. So I really hope that like he didn't get away with it for like 40 years.
Jose then snuck her body out of the house and buried it under the neighbor's porch. After 17 months, Carrie was discovered.
Okay, so it was 17 months, a body was literally under your porch. Is that not like really scary? Like, you were literally living your life normally and a body was under your porch. I remember I was watching an NCIS episode and basically one of the guys had 2 dead bodies under his bed that had been there for about 20 years. Yeah, that freaked me out.
But police police were baffled and there were no leads or witnesses. But during these 17 years, Jose was being tormented every night.
Good, you deserve it. Well, see, you have to keep in mind back in them days, I think it was 1980 or something when it happened. Basically, the DNA stuff wasn't as good, so like they don't have the technology that they have now. Back then, like they literally couldn't scan your fingerprint, or maybe they could. All I know is that like the police stuff wasn't as good as what it is now.
According to him, by Carrie's spirit. He would have sleepless nights where he would just hear Carrie screaming. Eventually, Jose said he was driven insane.
Good, I hope he was driven insane. I hope he had the worst 17 years of his life, and obviously it sounds like it. He'd done something at age 17, and he's gonna pay for it.
So after nearly 2 decades, he finally went to the police and confessed. Do you think this was Carrie's spirit calling out, trying to get revenge?
Absolutely, I genuinely do think it was. This sounds bittersweet, but I feel like the parents are gonna be happy that the case is finally closed, like they know what happened. If the parents are still alive, because think of it, like 17 years went by or something like that. At least like her family and friends would have known what happened to her, and they can now like sort of close the case. They're not left wondering what happened anymore.
Even though it took many years, justice was served, and Carrie's parents got to see her killer put behind bars.
Exactly, like they probably waited for that day for years. 17 years. Imagine you had a child or like an older sibling, and then one day they just like left this world, someone had obviously killed them, and you didn't know who, how, or why. And now 17 years later you finally get your answers. I mean, I'm happy your parents got their justice.
Now let's look at this criminal named Bhim Shankar Giri. Bhim was a happily married man from Mumbai, India, but he had a problem: his own brother. Bhim's brother would not stop harassing his wife.
By harassing, what does that mean? Like following, stalking, saying inappropriate things? Did the brother take out his own brother?
Bhim told his brother to stop countless times, but his brother would not stop. Bhim's hatred of his brother grew more and more, until one day he reached a tipping point.
Okay, so this has obviously been a thing building up, and he's finally just exploded. He's had enough. I mean, you could just go and like beat him up a load or like call the police, but then you also have to keep in mind the police probably aren't that good. With stuff like that, police are kind of useless.
He then decided to take his brother's life. The police and Bhim's family had no idea what happened, but scarily, 1 week later, Bhim began hearing his brother's voice.
Okay, so a week after he heard his brother's voice, it's obviously his brother's spirit. I mean, by the sound of it, the brother wasn't a good guy, but he doesn't deserve to lose his life. Also, keep in mind, the whole family's mourning the death of the brother, and they don't know that one of their literal sons has, like, done it.
Bhim's brother said he was going to haunt him and give him sleepless nights for the rest of his life. Every night, Bhim would have nightmares of his brother choking him.
Do you reckon there's a reason why all these people have nightmares? Is it the actual spirit, or is it because they knew they've done something and they're freaked out? I mean, I never do something like that. I don't like stuff like that. I get too scared. Like, if I even punch someone, I think I would cry and hand myself into police. But I feel like they know in their head and they try to, like, hide it and they keep forgetting it, but then, like, it comes back up. The guilt of it, like, they knew they've done something which they shouldn't have done, and, like, they're always on the run. Like, one day they will maybe get found out.
Eventually, it all became too much, and Bhim confessed to his family. Bhim's family called the police, and Bhim was sentenced to life in prison. Even though Bhim's brother was in the wrong, it does not excuse what Bhim did.
Exactly, his brother was in the wrong. His brother should not have done that. It was awful, but it still doesn't mean for him to lose his life. A lot of people are for the death penalty. Personally, me, I'm not. You know, the death penalty is an easy way out. If someone does an awful crime, the government can go like that and end their life. Obviously, like, people will be happy with that, but like, I'm not. I'd much rather they sit in jail and suffer every single day until they die, rather than just like get an easy way out.
But Bhim is nowhere near as evil as this man. This man is named Terry Childs. In 1985, this man took the life of 17-year-old Janine Segala.
Oh my god, 17-year-old? I thought he was about to say 17 people. Right, so it's back in the 1980s. Why is everything happening in the 1980s? I mean, back then, like, people would literally leave their front doors unlocked. Nowadays, if I hear a little noise downstairs, I'm literally on the phone with the police.
Terry was convicted and sentenced to 41 years in prison. But while he was in prison, he began confessing to more things he'd done.
Okay, so it wasn't just one life he took, it was multiple lives. Great, they thought it was bad enough that he was a killer, but it turns out he's a serial killer. It kind of does make you think, you know, whenever someone gets arrested for like a crime, if it's like a serious one like that, have they done it before? I mean, think of it, there's like probably loads of serial killers out there. You could be one.
This included many lives he'd taken. In total, he confessed to taking 12 people's lives.
12 people's lives? How did he literally get away with that? I really do hope all of them people literally like harassed him. I hope the spirits came back. 12 lives. It's so crazy how someone can literally do that. Like, what happened? Obviously, was he born evil? Did something bad happen in his childhood? 12 lives, like, that's a lot of people.
But he was only ever convicted of 5 of these murders.
Okay, so he's only convicted of 5, so there was like, how many other people? 7 other families that need justice and didn't get it. I mean, did he tell them where the bodies were buried? I don't know how someone could do something like that.
In court, he made a very scary admission. He said he confessed because he was being haunted by his victims. He said his confession was a last-ditch effort to free himself from these ghosts.
I mean, mate, I'm sorry, I don't think the ghosts are gonna let you away now that you've confessed to it. I think they'll probably be happy that you confessed, but now they're gonna haunt you more.
He said he would often see his victims in his cell staring at him, and had dreams of them eating his brain.
Good, I hope you genuinely did. Maybe he did see the victims, like maybe that is a real thing. Or maybe he was slowly going crazy. I mean, I low-key hope it was both. Like, I hope he was going crazy, but then I also hope that they were like literally harassing and making his life hell.
Something similar happened with criminal Mark Bridger.
Okay, I think I've heard that name before. I think he's from the UK. This sounds really bad, but I'm obsessed with true crime stuff, documentaries, anything like that. If it's on Netflix or any website, I will watch it. I've heard that name before, but I don't know if he's from the UK or maybe USA.
Mark Bridger was a very evil man from the UK. In 2012, Mark was driving around his local area. That's when he saw a young girl, 5-year-old April Jones.
Yeah, that's where I remember him from. Oh, this is an awful story. How someone could do the stuff that he done, I don't know how.
April Jones approached Mark's car, but that was the last time she was seen alive. At first, Mark said this was an accident, but police did not believe this for 1 second, and a later investigation found that Mark did this on purpose.
Exactly, he went out there, he's looking for someone. It's so scary how there's people like him in the world. Like, you genuinely don't know what someone's thinking in their head. They could be like him. And like, it's just so scary how that like happened in the UK. 60 million people live in the UK. This probably happens quite a lot in the world. Like, you genuinely don't know if you're living beside somebody like him.
Mark was sentenced to life in prison, but a few years later, one of Mark's fellow inmates was released from prison and disclosed something scary.
Okay, so they've disclosed something scary. What's it gonna be? I hope the little girl was there and actually like tormenting him. Think of it, this was a young girl. She was literally leaving like her school or whatever. And then he obviously, you know, took her life.
He said that Mark would see visions of April Jones in his cell. Apparently, April's ghost torments Mark and gives him sleepless nights.
Good, I genuinely hope she keeps him up 24/7. I hope that evil man will never get a night's sleep ever again. Anyways, guys, that's why I'm gonna leave the video there. That is some criminals who were haunted by their victims. All of the people in this video were evil and they deserve all that they got. If you are new, hit that big red subscribe button, and yes, I'll see you all in my next video.